Ciao a tutti, it's Arum, and no, I am not exaggerating in the title. This is the fucking funniest artifact mirror match that I have ever seen. Like, holy. So, it's me with Wattifacts versus Blab on h.a.t. or h.a.t, I don't remember. And yeah, I have Thunder Seahorse, Mahander, Giraffe, Murmileo, Bottomless, and Duality. You know, the kind of hand that if I didn't have Mahander and Giraffe would be fucking broken. Well, Giraffe is fine, but if I didn't have Mahander, it would be broken. But you know, unfortunately, woman. So yeah. Meanwhile, Blab has Call of the Haunted, Card, Soul Charge, Moral Attack, and Duality. So I start with Murmileo into TTHN. I go for Thunder Seahorse into the Vat Cobras, and because I have Mahander and and maybe I'm trying to protect Murmileo, maybe, hopefully, so I have some pressure next turn with the Cobras. And I Duality into Scythe, Torrential Tribute, Mahander, and what the fuck happened here? Are y'all seeing this? Okay, this video is going to be inherently funnier, which is ironic because it's already going to be hilarious. Anyways, I grabbed the Torrential Tribute. I could have grabbed Mahander, but I didn't open enough back row to feel safe, so I decided to get Torrential, and he gets the Firehand. Now, honestly, I'm just gonna preface that I played sloppily this game one, at least. Game 2 and game 3 I played pretty well, but game 1, there's a bunch of misplays. So he goes for set Firehand, set Call of the Haunted, and Moral Attack and pass. Obviously he doesn't know that I don't have Moral Attack access, so that's that makes sense. But something that I would say that is important in improving your artifact mirror match capabilities is reading when the opponent has artifact set and when he doesn't, and that is mostly from pressuring. Making plays that will pressure the opponent into activating their artifacts. For example, Card or Giraffe or Cobra even. The hands or like even the Greykeepers aren't great at that. And the Murmileo is interesting because it's like it's not great at it, but usually it works. So you can't really be sure about whether the opponent has an artifact or not. With Murmileo, it kind of depends on what other cards they have. So you can kind of guess what kind of cards they have, but it's not really reliable. If they don't respond to normal summon Murmileo attack directly, they might have artifacts, but no artifact protection. Or if they attack, if you attack Murmileo with Murmileo, then they might not. They might have Dionia and just let it go through because of that. So it's always kind of hard to tell with Murmileo if they have. But Giraffe, it's pretty easy to tell. He didn't Moral Attack the Giraffe, so it's obvious that he doesn't have Moral Attack access. But yeah, this way I can out it. And I go for the Kergorgon. He goes for it top decks a Soul Charge or TTHN actually, and yeah, he's playing double TTHN, which is a trend that I'm seeing more and more lately. And that is mostly because artifacts are becoming more and more prevalent. And I'm starting to feel like, yeah, right now it is a pretty decent meta call. It goes for the Call of the Haunted in Chain Link 2 to the Murmileo, so Firehand cannot be bottomless, which is a very good play. But one of the misplays that I did is like I have a Torrential set. 101 will probably be better, but unfortunately, I am only playing one 101, which again right now I am starting to think that maybe it will be a good meta call to play 2 copies. But yeah, it goes for the 101 play, and just by attacking now I am in a bit of a pickle. So since I had both Bottomless and TT-Chan, attack position Kyrie Gorgon would have actually been more threatening because it wouldn't have been very safe versus hands, although I did have Bottomless and Torrential to stop hands depending on what happened. But Ice Hand would have been a fucking pain in the ass. But for the 101, that was a bit of an issue. But I can't really read whether the opponent has Ice Hand or not. Though, frankly, actually, if they unless they top decked Ice Hand, setting the Ice Hand would have been a much better play than setting the Fire Hand, because then Ice Hand cannot be run over by the Myrmidon I had last turn. So that is something to consider for next time. But anyways, I go for But Cobra, attack directly to search out Giraffe. And I have double Cyclone, instant fusion. I haven't been telling all the draws I'm getting, but yeah. I go for normal summon, for special summon 101 in attack, which is fucking stupid. Yeah. I don't really. I have no defenses for myself. This was just plain me playing badly. Which I do think is an argument for Artifacts being like really good. The fact that I make fucking dumb misplays like this, like really fucking dumb, and I still top like most of the time. So not to toot my own horn, but yeah. It goes for the Karkardi. I have Torrential, so that is going to be very handy. Leaves the 101 with no materials left. I go for normal summon what Cobra, and yeah, frankly, I should have gone for the Giraffe again, playing stupid. But I don't, and I go for Ragna Zero because it's 2400, which is better than 2100. But yeah, he draws Bottomless. He goes for Trapstone, which is a tech card. It is a very blab card to run in h.a.t, frankly. But it is very strong right now because you can go for Soul Charge. You can free up the space for Bottomless. His Soul Charge isn't going to be too powerful, but the Myrmidon is going to be an issue. So he goes for it, and he pops. It takes a while for the dice, but he pops Call of the Haunted. He goes for the 101, for the second 101 into Ragna Zero. And it passes without setting Bottomless, which is interesting. But, Bottomless is kind of fucking shit versus this deck. So, another reason to run double TTHN that, Bottomless can pretty safely come off versus Artifacts, sometimes just the dry moral attack might be an issue, but besides that, there is pretty much not too many uses. That in rank 4s, but even then, the most used rank 4s are 101 and Exiton, and TTHN does well versus rank 4s most of the times. So I top deck Ignition, which is going to be pretty dead. Goes for 101 attack. I go for Ignition into double Cyclone into both TTHNs. I was not expecting double, but yeah. And this way, Scythe Scythe will be a lot better in h.a.t format if it wasn't mandatory. because that way you will be able to not activate the effect, so you could play around TTHN like Moral Attack does. But you know, in this situation, I managed to play the sniper and snipe. Sniper's a tough job, mate. And he card these into double Sanctum. Yeah. Anyways, top deck Mahander, which is pretty good. I go for the safe play though, which is doing nothing. Top decks into Murmaleo. He uses the second soul charge for Murmaleo. Pops TTHN. And normal summons the other Murmaleo to go for the Ragna Zero. When have you ever seen an artifact mirror match where not just one player goes for a normal summon, special summon Ragna Zero, but two go for special summon Ragna Zero just for the beater? Like, how does this happen? Like, luckily he hit the wrong back row because I had bottomless, so I am still in this. But you know, he has double fucking Sanctum, so yeah. Goes for a big attack into moral attack. And yeah, I am forced to try to go for Exiton here, which gets bottomless, but you know, still resolves. And Sanctum is going to pop my nothing because Exiton gets bottomless. Top decks into Torrential. I normal summon Murmaleo. It goes for Torrential. Top decks Firehand, which is a fucking pain in the ass. My god. I go for the Murmaleo Crash because what else am I gonna do? Top decks a Sanctum. I top decked fucking 2 moral attacks and an instant fusion, so yeah. The Firehand saved him big time. Anyways, top deck Sanctum, but it's too late. It's just way too late. Yeah. But yeah, if he hadn't MST'd my Sanctum, I would have been in a pretty decent spot, actually. Anyways. I opened Thunder Seahorse, Murmaleo, Sanctum, Torrential Tribute, TTHN, and Memory of an Adversary, which is a fucking awesome card that, yeah, I played for like 3 tournaments in a row, and 2 tournaments. Literally, this is the second time I saw it after one entire tournament run where I only saw it in top 8 and lost. And it got MST'd. But yeah. But yeah, Memory of an Adversary is a fucking awesome card in an Artifact Mirror match. The only issue is it burns you. But it's kind of fucking broken anyways. Anyways, he opens Duality, Trapstone, Murmaleo, TTHN, Debunk, and Torrential Tribute, and Dualities into Breakthrough Skill, Ice Hand, and Trapstone. So in this situation, Ice Hand would... Both Ice Hand and Breakthrough Skill would be good picks, frankly. I would probably go for Ice Hand because he doesn't have any other follow-up. And so does he. But yeah, he goes for the set 4 without normal summoning Murmaleo, which is certainly a play. Not sure why, frankly. Seems kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe because I had Seahorse, so I wasn't threatening rank 4 this turn. So with the Cobra, I could have he could have ran over the Cobra with the Murmaleo, which is something. But I decided to go for normal summon. So I went for the Seahorse to put more pressure on because I drew Mahander anyways, and it didn't have a monster anyway, so I wanted to put some more damage on him. Although you know, obviously I should have just normal summoned Thunder Seahorse first, and then went for the Thunder Seahorse in the main phase 2. But because, you know, obviously that would put a lot more pressure of threat over rank 4. But yeah, that didn't matter, thankfully, because he had the torrential. But yeah. No, actually, yeah, he didn't summon Murmaleo probably because he had torrential. So, you know, that was probably it. Because, you know, with this deck, you can always expect normal summon on the following turn. It is kind of weird to play around torrential with this deck. Because, you know, it loses so much value to go for normal summons in the main phase 2. It top decks another Murmaleo, so he goes for it into no effect because he sided out both TTHN and bottomless. What? Huh? Okay. Yeah, he also admits it's not a very good decision. Goes for Sanctum. I go for Sanctum into Moral Attack into no effect because I fear TTHN, and you know, I really want to. You know, I'm fine with just beating it over. I wanted to protect my life points. So I set the memory of an adversary, Cobra attack into Giraffe, just chilling. He goes for Trapstone into Ice Hand, which is pretty backbreaking, frankly. He hits Torrential Tribute, goes for the Fire Hand into Popping Bot Cobra, summons the Ice Hand into Popping TTHN, which how did he hit 5 with that? I don't know. Anyways, it goes for Firehand, Crash, and he sets Ignition and passes. So yeah, now I'm left with 2 memory of an adversary, which would have been great to use, but he had Trapstun, so, you know, Trapstun W, I guess. And Bottomless, which is like literally the worst back row I had. So yeah. And the top deck into Double Cyclone, which is going to be fine, but, you know, kind of awkward. Go for Cobra into Giraffe. Set the Double Cyclone and pass. He goes for a Murmaleo and runs over the Cobra. I go for Memory of an Adversary to protect it and also get Murmaleo, which will then get to pop their back row in their turn. So yeah, that's pretty good. I go for the Giraffe and he has to take it, so I can... I leave him with 900 and, you know, I have Giraffe in hand too, so that's pretty much a game. But, you know, Blab is like, oh, at least the Murmaleo searches didn't matter, which, true. Anyways, he opens Ice Hand, Double Cyclone Ignition, Double Ignition, Breakthrough Skill, and Duality, which is a very strong hand. Meanwhile, I open Ignition, Thunder Seahorse, Memory, Dark Hole, and Murmaleo. He dualities into Ignition, Call of the Hunted, and DD Crow. He goes for the Ignition. He is trying to go for the so-called Artifact FTK. And the boldly sets 5, which, well, you know, it's not too bold, but, you know, if I didn't have... if I didn't normal summon that turn, he couldn't have gone for the FTK, but, you know, it's fine. He does. I do have Murmaleo, so, you know, I go for Seahorse into Seahorse, set nothing, because what was... Yeah, this was a really big brain move, but it was because no, yeah, because I had Murmaleo face up, and if this was an Ice Hand, which it was, it would have been an issue. So I kind of wanted to avoid that. And also, I had 6 cards in hand. That was fine either way. Didn't have to discard anything. So yeah. I go for the seahorse into cobras. Go for just cobra attack for the giraffe. Frankly, there is an argument to go for the giraffe directly here instead. But the safer play is just cobra and chill. And put the Murmillo in defense position, so I can play around hands. And set memory, set call down to set ignition, set moral attack, and it goes for the FTK. Luckily for me, I have just the thing to answer the FTK. He goes for double cyclone, but hits my ignition. And ignition, it triggers the Waboku-like effect of ignition. So, he summons the moral attacks, and he pops 2. And it goes for the Pleiades. And I have Dark Hole. And he bounces the Ice Hand with the Pleiades. And I have now 2 Mahanders, a Cobra, a Giraffe. So yeah, I'm chilling. I can go for the Mahander for the extra damage and go for the Cobra into Giraffe. I don't set the double cyclone because I don't have anything to use it for, and I know he has a set hand. So if that is an ice hand, that is an issue. So he goes for the mind control on the Mahander into Ice Hand, normal summon into 101 just to run over the Cobra. I have Duality, and I go for I hit double Sanctum and double Cyclone. Although, frankly, was it even the correct call to go for the Duality when I had Mahander and Giraffe here? He has the Sanctum, so, in hindsight, yes. However, there's also the fact that just, I can go for Mahander into Giraffe and then go into battle phase and try to attack with Giraffe, and even if that gets Sanctum or something, I still haven't special summoned, so I can go for a Duality. And if I grab Sanctum, that's good. However, this is the kind of safe play because I'm trying to dig for something so I can activate the double Cyclone. And I find it, so it's good. I obviously get the Sanctum here. Set 2 pass. He doesn't go for the Sanctum. He goes for normal summon Firehand top deck. And I take it. I take all the damage. And in the end phase, I go for a Sanctum. Pop the moral attack. And here we get stuck in a ruling debate. Because we aren't quite sure whether the Sanctum or the moral attack go Chain Link 1. So we rule it as Sanctum Chainlink 1 and Moral Attack Chainlink 2 because no judge was responding. Because the Sanctum 1, this was their turn, and 2, Sanctum hit the grave first compared to Moral Attack getting summoned. So that was the rationale. And now we kind of misunderstand, but he doesn't activate the Sanctum. So I don't activate the moral attack. I understood that he activated it, so I went for this, but he didn't. So I did not. We took it back because it was an actual misunderstanding. So I top deck into Duality, not the best right now, but yeah. I go for Mahander into Giraffe, into running over the Firehand into 101, or Black Ship actually. which makes sense because 100 extra burn is very nice, and he has breakfast skill in graveyard, and I don't really have anything way to respond it. Although, actually, if he had Sanctum and oh yeah, no, because of the yeah, breakfast skill didn't matter last turn. Even if he had Sanctum, the breakthrough skill would have more attack would have dodged a chain link 3 breakthrough skill. Is no, actually, no, it would not have. It wouldn't have. So yeah, that is interesting. Maybe he was wanting to save the breakthrough skill. But I wouldn't. I would kind of assume that Blab wouldn't forget about breaker skill, but it wasn't too relevant right there. But he top decks into Soul Charge and he has DD Cross, so yeah, that was GG. But game 1 with the double Ragna 0 followed by game 3 with Artifact FTK getting countered completely was just hilarious. I had to do this video. So yeah, that's it from me. Leave a like, join the Discord, leave a comment, ring the bell, all that good shit, and goodbye.